Yeah, I think it's important for people to realize that polling, when it's done correctly, can be quite accurate. The problem is it's become more and more difficult to poll over time. The easiest way to get a random sample is to do random digit dialing. The problem is more and more people have caller ID today. I have to admit, it's horrible, but when my phone in my house rings, I never even look at it, right? I just ignore it, because if people are really calling me, they're calling me that I want to talk to, they're calling me on the cell phone. So our non-response rate, is significantly higher. And now, because you have things like cell phones are complicated to poll, because the law requires that if you're going to call somebody on their cell phone, you can't use automated dialing, right? And so if you want to call a cell phone, you actually have to physically put in 856-582, whatever the number is, which is time consuming. It slows people down, and so it's difficult. It's more difficult to do, and pollsters don't like to do that. And you can imagine if you were to walk into one of my classes right now and I asked how many of you have a landline in my classes, no one in the class virtually would say, I have a landline. They all have their cell phones. And so you could be missing a significant portion of the population if you're not polling, if you're not surveying cell phone users, right? The problem when you're trying to predict where people are in terms of a horse race poll, though, is the population is not everybody that lives in the state, right? Or not everyone who lives in the country. It's the people who are actually going to vote on election day. And that can be difficult to determine. People oftentimes will say that they're likely to vote because of social desirability, right? They feel that voting is a civic right, a civic norm, and if I tell you I'm not voting, then I'm therefore violating some sort of cherished civic norm. And so, people are going to tell you they're voting when they actually don't vote. What I always tell my students is, don't look at any one poll in isolation, right? Look at a variety of polls. And if you start to see pretty consistently that a candidate is polling between 30 to 35%, then they're probably between 30 to 35%. But if they're all over the place, then it's likely that you've got some poll in there is not accurate.